guys, it's John Dominique, aka Prize Pictures. Today I want to do another camera roll review. Had a couple of setbacks recently, so I haven't been doing a whole lot of photography, but I'm dedicated to this craft, I'm dedicated to this channel, and I'm dedicated to sharing my journey on wanting to become a full-time photographer, making a living as a full-time photographer, which is my goal on this channel. And I want to talk about failures because I've been failing on this agenda for quite a long time. You know, this goal has yet to be reached. Recently, I will have to say that I did have a couple of successes. I completed a couple of assignments. I did make a little money, but it wasn't a lot. And overall, I'm losing money trying to become a full-time photographer. So I'm failing, and I have to be okay with that. And I want some crowd participation. I want y'all to let me know if it's okay to fail while you're trying to reach a goal, because that's, in my opinion, that's kind of what it takes sometimes. You have to make a lot of mistakes, but you have to learn from those mistakes, and you have to keep trying to go forward. Sometimes you take a couple of steps backwards before you can go forward. So I would like you guys to let me know some of your challenges and some of your failures and some of your setbacks, to share as a community and to lift each other up and give each other ideas and to support each other on this endeavor, whatever your goal is. So recently my other EPL1 camera died. I think I left it in a car in the heat. Basically the grip fell off, and then eventually the SD card slot, the spring in there stopped working, and it wouldn't load, so the SD card slot was a bust, and I had to give the camera away basically because it wasn't working. And that's another one of my failures. I have to learn from that. And you know, financially not doing good because I have to keep buying more equipment. So I did end up buying another camera, and this was the EP2. I'm going to show it to y'all here, a little show and tell. And I really got this camera because of the lens. It's the Panasonic f2.5 14mm, and I had this lens in the past and I enjoyed it. I was going through my history, looking at my photos, and I was looking at the pictures that I really enjoyed the most, and they came from this lens. I'm using like a close-up filter with this lens, and so it gives me kind of a different, you know, it's not just that 28mm, it gives me that other very close-up range that I can use to take some close-up photos, and I've been enjoying that aspect of it. And I wanted to get the lens, and I did, but I found out that the camera, the autofocus doesn't work. So that's a setback and another failure, and that kind of hurts. So I'm failing on that front, but at the same time I've been learning, relearning manual focus, because I used to be a manual focus shooter with like vintage lenses, and I kept one of the lenses. I kind of got rid of most of the lenses that I had in the past, but one of the lenses that I did keep was this Konica 40mm f1.8 with an adapter on there. So I'm adapting this lens and relearning the joys of manual focus. It's been kind of difficult, and a lot of the photos I'm taking are blurry, so I'm failing on that front as well. And you know what? I've been embracing my failures, telling myself, hey, it's okay to fail. You know, you have to keep trying multiple times, and it's kind of a lifelong lesson. You take multiple photos and you learn as you go, as you fail. Like for instance, I've been keeping the f-stop like at f5.6. When I'm taking those close-up photos, I'm learning that the depth of field is super shallow, and it's very difficult to stay still and take a good photo. Sometimes I have my hands extended forward, and it's not the best, what's the word I'm gonna say, ergonomics. It's not the best way to stay steady. So going forward, I have to say, hey man, maybe I need to even stop down to f10 to get a more of a depth of field, to get more in focus on this lens. So that's what I'm gonna have to start learning how to do, because that will increase my chances of success. And again, I'm learning as I go forward. I'm failing right now, as being a paid photographer, but this is part of the journey, and I have to accept that as part of life, and I have to learn, fail forward is basically the idea here. So, let me know if you have any comments, suggestions, questions, and leave your experiences of failure and success and any setbacks that you've experienced, any challenges, so that we can share and support each other on this journey, whatever your goal is in photography. So with that being said, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and go through some images and show you some images. So let's start with the first one here. The first one is a photo that I took when I was walking downtown recently. I was able to get downtown, and it was a good day. It was good light coming through, very strong in the middle of the day. And there was like a construction area, and there was a construction vehicle there, and the tire was just outside of the edge of a shadowed area, and there were some leaves next to it. And as you can see, I took a photo, and I don't know, I kind of like the zigzag nature of the tread on the tires and the way the light was falling, casting a hard shadow on the ground along with the leaves next to it. I just took a photo, and I thought it came out pretty decent. And this is just an example of me practicing my craft, because like I said, I'm dedicated to this. I want to make a full-time living as a full-time photographer, eventually make a living as a photographer. That would be my goal. This is just part-time right now, but I'm dedicated to this. I love this craft, and I don't want to stop, and I want to improve myself. So this is part of me practicing. Next photo, I was walking downtown again, and there was a garage, a parking garage, and in an area that I didn't explore, and I wanted to go in there. And then the sun was starting to set at that time, and the angle of the light was hitting through the railings in that garage and onto some of the pillars, and there was a lot of good shadows there. I could see a good piece of light, so I got in there, did a little photo session, came away with multiple photos, but I think this is one of the better ones that I came away with. And I edited this one, and as you can tell, I'm not sure if you can see, but I would think I was using the Olympus 12-40 f2.8 Pro. I had a mist filter on there, and if you can see the way that highlight is blooming off that pillar there to the left, you can kind of see it's glowing, so you can kind of see that. So this is me again practicing, and the angles of those lines were hitting, and the light was good, and I took my photos, did my shot, did a little photo session. I came away with a decent photo, and I'm happy about that, and I'm proud. And the next one was, I saw this, it looked to me like this plant was growing from the ground, right from the concrete in between the partitions and the concrete off the ground, and it grew really high, and I could see that it was casting a shadow on that vase right there, and I liked the way that shadow was casting. And lo and behold, there were some flowers in that vase, some like red and blue ones, and they kind of gave a good burst of color along with that shadow casting on that vase, and I decided to take a photo. Now I think the ground is a little distracting, so maybe I could have cropped it out just a little bit more to just keep the essence of the photo, but this is just an idea, and this is just me practicing, and this is what I came away with, and I'm very happy with the quality of these photos, and the color especially on these Olympus cameras is really magnificent. I started photography almost like a black and white photographer, but since the colors on these are so great, I'm like, yo, I gotta take some color photos too, so it just kind of inspires me. And that's one of the photos I came away with, and I'm happy to share. And the next photo, as you can see, I did this one in a black and white theme, and it was kind of a similar, I think I was on that same day, the sun was kind of setting, the way the light hits the railings and comes off the entrance of this building here, and it casts a nice little shadow. And I got multiple photos of this one too. I usually take multiple photos, but this is like, I just choose the best one, and this is the one that I chose. And those shadows are really hard, and The patterns are there. It definitely fits my style and fits my aesthetic. So I took that photo, and then black and white came good. This is obviously edited pretty hard, but that's another example of a photo. Next one, I think it's that same day, that same night, a little bit further down the road. I saw these street signs and the way the light was hitting the angles on the buildings, and just kind of had like a distorted little, in a fun way, has like a distorted shapes and patterns there on the wall. It's just a real simple photo, and just took a shot, and that's just me out there doing my thing. The next photo is one a couple days later. I went to a playground, which I like to frequent playgrounds because they always have like shapes, and you can come away with some interesting photos if you know what you're doing. If you just take your time and just walk around a little bit. Sometimes, the children push you out of the way, or the mothers, and I tend not to want to bring the camera around children because people act funny. But I was able to get a couple of sections where I could take the photos without feeling like I was making people uncomfortable, and I got a close-up shot on this one. I came away with a lot of photos that day on this playground, but this is the one and only one that I kind of kept, that I thought was the best, and I cropped it pretty hard. But the patterns and the lines and the shapes on this one came out pretty good, and I edited this one pretty hard too. And I struggled with the edit, but it came out pretty decent, and I'm happy that I did a little bit of work and came away with something respectable. The next one was walking down at this boat ramp, and there's these power lines, there's a grid, and then like these connecting power poles, and this one, there was like a particular screw that was kind of coming out of there, and I can see the way the shadow was distorted against the side. You can see the way it's casting a shadow, and then the repeating lines on that screw kind of combined together to make kind of an interesting photo. It's not the best in the world, but it's just kind of a real simple one. The next one, I was walking at that same boat ramp on that same day there, and there's an amphitheater out over there, and I'm just kind of walking around, enjoying myself, sitting down. After I'd come off on hard day's work, I sometimes want to just rest a little bit, and I just sat down, and I see I see the way the light is hitting, and there's people around me and stuff, and it's cool and all, but I shy away from actually talking to people, and just kind of want to go off on my own and get some peace and quiet. And I'm just sitting there, and I see the way the railing, the shadow is coming off the railing, and there's the steps there, and I say, hey, this could be a pretty decent shot. So I took the shot, and I took multiple shots. I think this is the best one again, and there's a little bit of debris there on the ground, and I know it's not perfect. As I said, it's a theme. There are some failures, and my photos aren't perfect, and it's okay. Sometimes you can do some edits to minimize the debris, which is kind of cool, but I just decided to leave this one there. So this is kind of a natural photo, and this is kind of aligned with the theme of my talk today. So the next photo is, I took this one yesterday, and I was walking into a Publix, and I had my camera with me, and there's a stop sign and a crosswalk, and I saw the lines there, and I was like, you know what, this could be kind of a little cool little thing. So I took the camera out, kind of was hiding behind the stop sign, and lo and behold, some people walking out, and I'm very cautious of wanting to make people feel suspicious of me, and they're looking at me, and I've got the camera out, and they're walking towards me. I didn't take a picture, and because again, I don't want to make anyone feel suspicious or anything. I let them walk by me, and there was a lady who was pushing a shopping cart, and then a Publix employee. They both walked by me, and so then I take the photo, and I kind of wanted to wait around for a subject that would be kind of interesting, and but I decided to move on instead. And once I moved on, like a minute, like maybe a couple seconds later, someone walked behind me, and it was like an older gentleman, and I don't know if he would have enhanced the photo or detracted from it. I thought maybe if there would be someone walking, I could just get their torso or their legs at the bottom, cut off the top half of them. And he would be walking behind me, walking towards the doors, so I wouldn't be getting his face or anything like that. But I decided not to do that. I decided against it, and I just told myself I'll come back to this spot next time. There'll be plenty of other opportunities for me to try to get some photos out of this as well. But again, I don't want to be suspicious. I want to make it kind of discreet, and I want to make it kind of anonymous so that people don't get the wrong idea. So I'm very wary, and I'm very cautious with what I'm doing, but I still think this made a decent photo. I like the lines and the colors on this one, so I'm gonna come back to that spot probably eventually. Let's see, the next photo I did was I'm sitting down again at another place that I frequent under this bridge, and I go there often when I get off of work just to rest a little bit before I go to the gym or do something. And there's flowers around there, and I'm just kind of sitting down next to the flowers taking photos and stuff. And I don't know, this is one of the better photos that I took that moment at that time, at that outing. And again, it was manually focused, and now that I'm looking back at this photo, I like the colors on this, and I can see the bokeh. I don't like the quality of the bokeh, but I think it's a pretty photo. Even without, the best bokeh in the world. So I'm doing the best I can with the equipment that I have, and that's kind of one of the things. If you have to fail forward, you have to use sometimes equipment that doesn't work, or that's not the best, it's not what you want. It's not the best quality, but you still do the best you can with what you have. You can still come away with good photos, and this is one example. And I'm just having fun and just trying out different things, experimenting. And this is a photo that came out with the lighting somehow came out pretty good on this, and I'm proud of this one. Actually, I think it's pretty. The colors are really great, and it's just one example. Another example. And the next photo, I want to include this one because this is pretty much, you can see that this flower doesn't have all of its leaves. It's missing one at the bottom. And I was really trying to get those white lines in the middle, coming out the middle of the flowers, trying to get the shadow behind it in the red, off the red section, kind of towards the middle right. You can kind of see I got a little bit of it. I succeeded a little bit, but it's not really what I wanted. And it still came out decent because I like the color combination. The white and the red comes out kind of nice. So this is a failed photo for me. I'm not going to use it, but just kind of wanted to show you guys that, failure is a thing. You have to take a lot of bad photos to come away with some good ones, and that's just the nature of the beast for me. Next photo was just a random photo. I was out there again under that bridge, and there was some leaves. The sun was starting to set, and the way the angle of the light was getting kind of low, and there was some grass and leaves and stuff, and I'm just taking kind of almost random photos. But then I'm looking to see if there's anything interesting, and this is one of the interesting things I saw, and I just took a photo. I didn't think much of it because it's just more of the same. But when I went to review the photos, I thought, hey, this would be pretty decent. It could fit my aesthetic with the lines and the repetitiveness of it. It's got the patterns in it, and it's pretty good. I like the way the green pops out of there, man. Again, these Olympus cameras with the colors are really, really great. I'm very satisfied, very happy that the colors come out. The green that comes out and punches you in the face on this one, and I like that. And this photo came out pretty decent. I'm proud of it. And the next photo, I think it was just actually yesterday. I got to work early. I didn't know I had the late shift, and so I had a couple hours to kill. So I was walking around the little plaza, taking photos, minding my business, and there was like some flowers and some leaves, and I'm taking photos, and I see this spider, and I take the camera out, and I got a really low, actually the f-stop, so it's got a really shallow depth of field, and I know I have to increase the depth of field to get a sharp photo because I'm using manual focus. And I just took multiple photos, and this is the one that came out the sharpest, and the color wasn't doing much for me, so I just made it a black and white, and that's the story of that. And just so that you know, the spider, I think it was dead. It was not moving at all. So I guess I got lucky. I was able to get really close to it and without, risking danger to the spider or to myself. And this one turned out pretty decent, so I'm happy with that. And then the last one is just a photo coming out of a parking deck, a parking garage. And I saw the way the light was transpiring through the openings in that garage, and I took a photo. I had to kind of tilt it to get it to fit, and the tilt kind of added some drama to the photo. And I don't know, in my mind I'm thinking it would be cool if there was somebody walking near that railing there. That would really enhance the photo pretty good. A cool figure with a cool hat or something like that. That would really make the photo more interesting, I would say. But I know that's a parking deck, and that might, I don't know if that would endanger anybody, because there's a lot of cars coming in and out of that deck, so they'd have to just walk somewhere carefully so they wouldn't be in danger or whatever. So, but that's what I have for my updated camera roll, and those are the selections that I made to share with y'all. And again, my theme today is failure. I've made a lot of bad photos, and I have to continue to make bad photos and be okay with that. And I just kind of want to get some discussion so we can help support each other on this journey, whatever your goal is on this photography. We can support each other, have a community, and to discuss, share ideas, common themes, and just to get a sense of community together and some engagement. Y'all let me know what you think. Leave comments, questions, and suggestions and all that good stuff. It's John Dominique, aka Prize Pictures. Peace.